What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to finally do the walk around of the FJ Cruiser that everyone's been asking for. We're also going to be talking about what I really think about the dream build that Throtl did for me, but we'll talk about that at the end.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
If you guys been following the build or basically saw what Throtl did, it looks a little different. I removed the end fab bumper that they had on because I didn't really like how they had an exposed winch on the front, and then I switched to a DeMello bumper. Since then, I actually took the DeMello bumper off and put the stock FJ bumper back on and basically blacked out the front end. But as you can see, the front end is still a little bit different. We have the spider headlights in the front, the depot corner lights on the side, and then on top, this little black thing, a lot of people think it's just a vinyl wrap, but this is actually a Cascadia 4x4 solar panel. I believe it's 110 watts or 100 watts. I can double check that later. Moving up, as you can see, we're missing a little trim piece, and that's because the molding flew off on the highway. And we're not gonna go into that about what I think about the install of that. Maybe that'd be a different video, but not very happy at this situation. Moving down here, we have some bonnet lights. These are from a company called Morimoto. I don't know anything about this company. They were a sponsor from the Throtl channel. So they seem to do well. They seem to have good output. And then moving down to the wheels and tires, we got some black Rhino Calico 17-inch gunmetal wheels. And then the wrapped in the Falcon Wild Peaks all-terrain tires. These tires were great when we went to Moab, went to Colorado, and basically a whole trip back. I had no issues with them at all. They were nice and quiet, and they look great. Moving into the suspension area, we have some FabTech upper control arms and some Dirt Logic coilovers. Right now we're raised about 2.5-inch, 3-inch for the best of my knowledge. In the rear, we actually have the stock TRD springs. Moving to the side, we got some Smitty built side step rails. These rails, unfortunately, are not mounted directly to the frame, and they're just mounted right against the frame rail or whatever it is. Basically, if you're into off-roading and everything, that's not a good thing to have, because if you were to hit something, you're gonna twist up underneath here, and also it's not really good to have side steps peeking out when you're going off-roading. So moving to the rear, we have an ARB air compressor, and we also have an MBRP exhaust. It's just a catback, it's not the whole system, but it does its job. Moving around the rest of the exterior, we have some WeatherTech window visors. These are the in-channel window visors, so they just slip right in. And then we have a Safari snorkel. This snorkel I already had on the FJ before I gave it over to Throtl. Now, if we move to the top of the car, you notice that I have the stock roof rack back in, and that's because I got rid of my Sherpa roof rack, along with my Roam Adventure box and my rooftop tent. All those are back at home. The only thing I got rid of is the roof rack, and I sold it to my buddy. Now, if we go inside the FJ, there's nothing really special. There's just a Pioneer double din head unit in here. We have some WeatherTech floor mats, and then they also wrap the trim pieces red to match the outside. Now, I guess the cool thing about this build, other than having Charlie back here, hey bud.
You keep your dog out in the back.
But the cool part about this build, it's pretty messy, but I have a drop down shelf, and to be honest, my favorite thing of this whole build is actually this little stealth camping setup that I made. So this actually flips out into a platform, so you can have a full sleeping area in the back here, and then you can also mount your mountain bike on the side right here and have everything all enclosed, all stealthy, and no one knows that you're sleeping inside your vehicle. So even though all of this is pretty cool, I'm very, very proud of this whole little setup that I made. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that quick walk around of the FJ. As you can see right behind me, I still have the FJ. I'm getting a lot of people on social media wondering why they haven't seen the FJ, if I sold it and everything. Well, still right here. But before we move forward in this video, I like to emphasize that anything I say about my whole experience with the Throtl Dream Build giveaway is that it's my own personal experience and how I felt throughout the whole process, before, during, and after. So if there's any negative things I say, it's more feedback towards the Throtl team if you guys are watching, as well as for other people that's thinking about entering your own car to know what to expect and not get blindsided by anything, kind of like how I did. So that's a little foreshadowing about what I have to say later on in the video. So let's start with the dream build. And the first question, Did I have to pay anything to enter? Technically, yes, you do, and that's because you need to be a VIP member. And to be a VIP member is just $10 a month. That's it. Now, there is hidden fees per se, and I'm only saying it's hidden because I wasn't aware of this until after I was chosen. Well, if you watch all the other Dream Build giveaways, you always see at the end that the subscriber comes and they get the whole reveal, and then they either have the car shipped back to their home or that they drive it back just like me, how I took a road trip from California back to Texas with the FJ. Well, Throtl expects you, the winner, to basically pay all your expenses to get their hotel stays, Uber, and then all the way back. So when I found out about that, I thought it was a great idea, especially since I had a YouTube channel already, to ride my little Honda Gram all the way to California, put it in the back of the FJ, and to do a crazy road trip back. So that way, it was a more memorable trip than a fly there and fly back. So if you're thinking about entering your car in and potentially winning, you should know to kind of put away, I'd say at least like $1,000 off to the side, probably less, maybe half of that, but $1,000 to just be safe for airfare, for food, for Ubers, hotel stays, and everything. So just keep that in the back of your head. Another question a lot of people ask me is, how did I get chosen, and any tips to get chosen? Well, you have to remember, Throtl is a channel where they're trying to get as many eyes as possible. So that means that if they've done a car already, most likely they're not going to choose that car again to do because they've already done it before. But knowing that it's an FJ Cruiser, it looks very unique. It's an off-road vehicle, which again, they don't do too much of. I knew I had a high chance of winning. Also, I've entered since the first Dream Build up to the third Dream Build, and I've tried every single time, and luckily I got chosen for the third time. Now, some other tips is that you should stand out, and I think the standing out part is actually pretty easy because all you have to do is look at the hashtags where Throtl tells you to hashtag your build, and you kind of look at everyone else's entries, and you just be unique and not be the same how everyone else did. So what I did personally is I made a short 10, 20-second video of my FJ with different cuts to music and everything. And maybe that with my story about how I want to use this thing to travel across country, hit all the national parks and everything, maybe all of that combined, I'll make it chosen. Or maybe they just saw an FJ Cruiser and say, let's do that. So not sure, but I think the combination of having a unique car that they haven't done on the channel, as well as possibly my photos and videos and everything that I did on the side, I think that all tied together and they chose my rig. Next question, what is my favorite part of the build and what's my least favorite part of the build? Am I happy with the overall build? Honestly, I am not. It's a cool looking FJ, don't get me wrong. Like if I saw this on the road, I would be like, that's a badass FJ. But is it my dream FJ? It's not. And the reason is because I would say 90% of the parts on here that they put on, I wouldn't put on myself, as in the brands. But the next thing is the wrap. Now, the wrap color, as you can see right behind me, is red. And I think the red looks great, but I don't like the red. Now the question might be is, well, didn't I choose this? And the answer is yes, but no. So when Throtl asked me what color I wanted to wrap the vehicle, I actually said that I wanted to keep it white if it's possible. But I had a feeling that they wanted the wow factor and have a real transformation. So I thought to myself, what would a color be that I would want, but would never buy, or actually like pay money per se? And that's red. Like I personally would never buy a red car unless it was a great, great deal. But I've always wanted a red car. And I sent them a link of one of the reds they've done in the previous build. But they said that they didn't work with that brand anymore and they're working with another brand and that they got me. So I was kind of actually scared because when someone says that they're going to change the color of your car, but you don't know what it is and it's going to be a surprise, I don't know about you guys, but I think you want to be certain of the color of your vehicle because you're going to be staring at it all day long and it's going to be the major focal point. So I was very scared, and when I actually saw the red, I was indifferent. It's definitely grown on me. Like, I like it better now, but I still don't fully like it. And that's because in certain pigments or in certain lighting, it looks pink. overall, I'm not a fan of the red. It's cool, but it's not my dream color. My dream color was white, and that's why I bought the FJ, because it was a white FJ, Trail Team Edition, all white everything. It was a cool rig. So I guess that goes into the next part is, how involved was I in the build process? Overall, very, very little. Hopefully, Throtl has changed the process from myself up until the current stage of winners, because with me, all they asked was for 3 examples of builds that I like and the color of the wrap, and that's it. So my understanding of the whole dream build giveaway is that since it was a dream build, that I would be working with the Throtl team, choosing all the parts, because they are a parts catalog website where they basically drop ship different brands. And so when I went on the website, I saw that maybe 90% of the parts that I really wanted for my rig was on there. So when I won, I assumed that I would be able to basically go through the whole catalog and within my budget, pick out the stuff I wanted, and then that I give them my vehicle, and there you go, that's my dream build. That's what I thought. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So it's a very scary and uneasy feeling knowing that your pride and joy is gonna be shipped off and you don't know what's the outcome of it. So I think if I had the expectation that it would be more of a vendor sponsor, or that Throtl had majority of the control, if I knew that from the get-go, then maybe my overall thought process of this whole thing would be completely different. But unfortunately, I had one expectation and I received the other. So I'm very unhappy about that. And because of that, it's kind of made me lose motivation working on this thing. And yeah, it's a cool rig though. That also will tie into the next part is, should you enter your car? Honestly, if the car you're entering is your pride and joy, as in like, you're very particular of what parts, what brands, and everything you want to use, then I would not enter your car in the Dream Build giveaway, sweepstakes, whatever it is. Only because they have full control of what they want to do. Now, if you have a vehicle that it's been a project for years, or maybe you just got it, or maybe you just literally don't care of what happens to it, and you just know that Throtl does a good job, because Throtl does do a good job. Like, everything they have installed, I have no complaints. The only thing I have some complaints about is maybe some of the vendors they use to install the stuff, but everything that Throtl installed themselves that I saw on video, they did a great job on that part. So if you want a Throtl build where they have full control and you actually want to be surprised and wowed, then yes, you should enter your vehicle. But again, if it's your pride and joy, then no. Just enjoy the videos, what they do, and just be a spectator. I think it's kind of obvious that I'm not really that happy about my whole experience of the build. I am, however, very happy of the journey to Throtl, where I rode my Honda Ground from Texas to California. I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed meeting the Throtl gang. Like, they were great, amazing people. How they are on camera is how they are in real life. It was cool to see all the builds and actually see the quality and everything they did on that aspect. I also enjoyed my whole journey back from California to Texas. And so that whole overall experience has been amazing. But unfortunately, the car itself, I am not happy about. It's not my dream build. It's definitely, like I said, definitely a cool looking FJ, but it's not my dream build. I think what Throtl has done for me is great. I'm actually very appreciative, even though this whole video seems like a rant that I'm just bagging on them. It really isn't. Like, I know they're trying their best. I know they're trying to give back to the community and also build up their channel. I understand that it's a business, but I also want to be transparent for anyone else that's thinking about entering their own car and basically going through this whole process just like me, and not to be let down or to have a better experience. And for the final question, and a lot of people have been asking me this, is why did I take all the accessories off the roof and the bumper and made the FJ basically all stock-like? And the reason behind that is that I am selling the FJ. Unfortunately, my motivation to work on this is completely gone. From the wrap color to the parts There's too much stuff that I need to do to make this my dream build, unfortunately. And because of that, I would rather just get rid of this, potentially buy another FJ in the future that's a manual transmission, because this is an automatic, or get another project car, because just like any other car guy, I love working on cars and I love having new projects. So on that note, my overall experience with Throtl has been great, but unfortunately, this is not my dream build. So that's gonna be the end of the FJ and a new start with the camper van. So if you guys are interested in the MT-07, the camper van, the Honda Gram, or any other adventures that we do, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next adventure, video, something, don't know. I make this up as I go.